This is Malanka interviewing Mr. Hoover Keith on August 8, 1991 for the Big South Fork Oral History Collection. Mr. Keith has agreed to talk to me today about collecting arrowheads and life around Yamacraw. Mr. Keith understands that this conversation will be tape recorded and that the tape will be kept in the Big South Fork Library collection. Let's start out by getting some biographical information from you. What is your full name?
Evans Hoover Keith.
Evans Hoover Keith?
Yeah.
That's a nice name. What is your age right now?
73.
This may seem like a silly question, but are you or were you married?
Married.
Okay, and your wife's name?
Mildred.
Mildred, okay. Have you lived in McCreary County all your life?
No.
Where else have you lived?
Wayne County.
But
And down in Campbell County, Tennessee.
what was your occupation, or did you have several occupations as you came along?
I had several. Coal miner.
Where did you do your coal mining?
Clinchmore, Tennessee.
In Clinchmore, Tennessee?
Yep.
That's in Campbell County.
That's in Campbell.
Uh-huh. And did you ever work for Stearns up here?
No.
You never worked for Stearns?
No, I never worked for Stern.
What other occupations did you have?
I worked as a laborer for the Forest Service.
And I understand you worked for them for a long time?
Yeah, 17 years.
17 years. When did you start working for them?
I just don't remember.
Okay.
I started out as a lookout on a far lookout there. And I did that for years. And I went on just as a worker.
Uh-huh. And you worked in this district here?
Yeah, I worked in the Stearns district.
In the Stearns district? And when did you retire from the Forest Service?
That I don't remember.
About 12 years ago.
About 12 years ago?
I was 62 years old when I retired.
So it's back in the late 70s that you retired from them. Uh-huh. Now, I understand you and your wife also ran the store right down the hill here?
Yes, we run the store.
About how many years did you run that?
25 years.
About 25 years?
That's a long time.
So,
Raised a family there.
now, I understand you have 3 children? 4 children. And one of them lives here locally?
Yeah,
Two of them
one.
do. Two live locally. Uh-huh.
At Stearns,
Okay, now I understand that one of your lifelong hobbies years and years ago was collecting arrowheads.
That was my lifelong
Hobby. And a passion, too. You were really interested in that.
I sure was.
Now, where did you do most of your arrowhead hunting around here?
And Cowhorn Creek and Stallion Fork and Elm Creek, Buffalo and Tater Hole.
What are some of the unique features of that area that made it good for collecting arrowheads?
Had these big overhanging cliffs.
And that protected the areas?
Most of them had a spring under.
So that was the best way to know that you'd probably find some things there?
Yeah, to find a good dry overhang with a fresh spring under. And they was all facing the east.
So they'd get
You never looked on the west side of the cliff because the sun they wanted that early morning sunrise.
Now, I understand that along with a lot of arrowheads and tools and needles and things like that, that you found skeletons in some of these overhangs.
Yes, we found skeletons. Sometimes we'd find 5 or 6, but I'd bury most of them back.
That's understandable. Yeah. Now, you found a mummified skeleton, didn't you?
Yeah, it was partly mummified, and it had a little hair on its head.
And you said it was a red color? A reddish color?
Yeah,
hair?
reddish colored hair.
And it also had some skin?
Yeah, around the rib section.
What did that skin look like?
Looks like leather.
Uh-huh. And you mentioned with that mummy that it was holding a little bundle.
Had a little bundle of grass, like oats, like a bundle of oats.
Uh-huh. And where did you locate that? Was that kind of near the midsection of the body, or in the hand?
It was right on the chest part.
Uh-huh. It was tied together with like a grass.
Little twisted grass.
Uh-huh.
And its walking cane. It had a walking stick beside of it.
Wow.
Because it had a leg broke.
Oh, this was the skeleton that had the compound fracture?
Compound fracture. And it was a sourwood stick about 3.5 feet long. And the end of it, where it'd been a punch in the fire, would burn off kind of cone shape.
That's interesting.
And this stick still had the bark on it.
Well, I understand you also found some rope.
Yeah, we
At that
found
side?
a piece of rope and
And what was that made of?
it was made out of fiber from bark.
And it was braided together?
It was braided, and one little piece was braided and the other one was I call it plaited.
Right. And you gave a lot of this material to some archaeologists up at the university, where they said that they were with the university?
Yeah, they said they was with the university.
At Kentucky, yeah. Now, when you started out hunting arrowheads, were a lot of people in the area doing the same kind of thing, or were you and your boys kind of out
Me
there
and the
alone?
boys just about had it to ourselves for a while, but it wasn't long till everybody caught on, and then they got to they couldn't even find the cliff
Oh, right.
that hadn't been dug, I mean.
Yeah. Well, now, did you all get together and kind of exchange information about the different places and the different kinds of things?
Yeah, we'd try to find out where another good cliff was at.
Uh-huh. Did you ever go with anybody else, or did you just take your boys? I mean, did you
Yeah,
go
we
with other-
went with the reporter from the Courier Journal
Oh,
come
yeah,
down, and him and his boy, and we took them out for a day.
David Dick.
Uh-huh.
You know, he writes for a magazine now. A magazine that we get from RECC. He's a reporter for them now. I mean, he's retired,
Right.
but he lives somewhere close to Frankfurt. And he and his son came down here once.
Uh-huh.
Made some pictures and then
He wrote
pictures
a
of some
story
big
in,
fish too, and then about the airheads. He wrote a story. Their pictures was in the Courier Journal a long time ago.
You started to say something about
David.
David,
Dick.
yeah.
Got him coming down here, Hoover.
I forget what I was aiming to say.
No, that's okay. That happens to all of us.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he brought his little boy with him, and me and my son-in-law, we took him over there, and to get down underneath this cliff, we had to go down a ledge, and this little old boy of his was so fast that he wouldn't be still, and he run ahead of John, and John grabbed him by the sleeve, and his feet slipped over the cliff, and he held him by the shirt sleeve, and pulled his shirt up, and his shirt hung under his arm. It all saved him from getting
Going
about
over the
a
cliff,
30-foot fall, and that didn't even scare David. David didn't pay no attention
He's
to
one
it.
of these little city boys. He had never been out in the cliff country before, probably out in the woods.
But it scared me. I thought
Oh,
he had gone over the cliff. The ledge wasn't over. It just got an angle and down around the cliff. But that little boy, he was going to get down there first.
Well, I hope your boys were a good influence on him. Now, when you were out looking for arrowheads, did you ever run across places where people had stills in these?
Yes,
little
we
places?
found plenty of
You
stills.
found plenty of them. No, they weren't still being used, were they?
I found them in use.
Oh, okay, all right. Did you
Still hot.
Did you have to be careful in those areas? I mean, were people kind of looking out for
Yeah,
folks stomping around?
sure. Dangerous to find one.
But if they knew you wasn't a revenue, they wouldn't bother you.
Okay, They
I
knew.
wasn't afraid.
Well, they knew
because
you were a local fella.
we didn't report nothing.
Right.
Forest Service told us not to.
That's a good policy.
When I was working with the Forest Service, we was under a lot of the cliffs and things, because they say if you get a moonshiner mad at you, he'll set the woods on
That's
fire.
right. That's right.
But
You
we
didn't-
saw that we never, nobody that was in our crews ever, but we steered clear of one when we did find one, we steered clear of it.
It's good policy. Do you think there's still some old steel parts out here in the cliffs, like from 20, 30, 40 years ago? You think there's still some out there?
I doubt it.
You doubt it? They're probably moved somewhere else, huh?
They moved somewhere else. The sheriff's all the time finding one somewhere, but it's one that's being used. Not none of the
Not the old stuff, yeah.
No, the old stuff, they made them out of copper. And they got that copper for scrap off. But these new ones, when they found one now, most of them was out of old oil drums.
Old oil drums, yeah.
And moonshine's dangerous to drink. Liable to get poisoned.
I hear there's some real good moonshine, and there's some stuff that you just shouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
That's right.
Well, did you ever find, when you were in the rock houses and things looking for arrowheads, did you ever find the works for making gunpowder, the niter mining, the saltpeter?
Yeah, you
work?
find places before that they drilled holes in rocks to bust them. I don't know what they drilled a hole in, but them old timers,
They drill a hole to bust the rock to make the...
To chisel to get the saltpeter out of.
Do you recall right off the top of your head where you would find some of these places?
No, not right.
You just found them along with everything else?
Yeah, just along with everything else.
How, could you give a ballpark figure of how many of those kinds of places you found for saltpeter making? Did you find, you know, like 4 or 5, or did you find 10 or 12?
Actually, 3 is all I...
3 that you recall?
I recall now.
Well, for this area, that's a lot, don't you think?
It is.
You know, for the Civil War, I mean, you had to be careful.
Find quite a few salt licks where they went and got their salt.
And in the early days, the salt licks?
Yeah, they're just kind of like a swampy spring, and the water tastes...
Like brine, real salty?
You can always tell where they're at by the deer tracks.
And the early pioneers would know where these were, and they would come and make salt. Those places.
Build them a furnace and boil it. Boil this water until it made salt.
And you ran across a few of these places when you were out there. This, as I recall from my history, this was right around here was a good area for making salt. That's how they found oil over near Devil's Sump, isn't it?
Yeah, they was drilling for salt and found the oil well over here at Old Well Branch now.
And little did he know that in 100 years it'd be worth something. Now you mentioned a legend about, or the story of how Yamacraw got its name. Would you care to repeat that for me?
Well, old Chief Yamacraw had a tribe over here before they built the camp, and they named it after him. And then after they built the camp, they fenced it in and made a hog lot out of his camping cliff.
The camp he's talking about was the mining camp, where they had the mines up here.
At Yamacraw.
Just up, not very far from here.
Now, my history is sketchy of this area. How long have you lived right here, right at the bridge at Yamacraw?
About 45 years.
45 years?
About 43 years.
Were they still mining down here at Yamacraw when you lived here?
Yes, they do.
And when did they stop that? About 25 years ago, or?
It's not been that long, has it, Hoover? I don't believe it's been that long. Could have been, you know, time.
Right, yeah.
It's been 20 years anyway.
Yeah, just about that.
Now, did that help support your store here? Yeah,
that was the backbone of the whole thing. Yeah, when the mines all closed down, our store had to just about closed down.
And when did you sell the store?
Sold it
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Well, they're still making a go of it, aren't they?
Yeah, they have a good trade now.
Good. But when this doesn't seem to have much to do with arrowhead collecting, but I'm real interested in how things changed in terms of the economy here, and how people would change with their trade. Since you ran a store here during, I'm assuming the 40s and 50s and 60s, was there any change in the way you handled your business? I mean, did you ever take scrip or
Sure.
people had credit accounts with you?
Yeah, we had it. Credit and scrip, that was the... And then after the mine shut down and the scrip went out, and what come along then was food stamps and welfare.
So you were,
That's what they're running on today.
that's still paper, huh?
There
And
wasn't any
Social
food.
Security.
When we had a store, there was no food stamps at that time. We never did take any food stamps.
We didn't know
wasn't
what a
any
food
then.
stamp was.
But that's going now, you know.
Yeah, that changed in the 60s, did it? What,
Yes, I
60s
believe
and
it
70s?
was. Mhm.
Started coming in.
When Hoover started working for the Forest Service, we quit running the store, and he worked for them. So there wasn't a store anymore down here for several years till we sold it. Sold the building, and they've had a store down there now about 8 or 9 years.
Well, now, along with the miners who were giving you good business here at the store, did you have any of the local people who would come in and
Yes,
did they
always.
trade for, like, did they bring in eggs and that kind
Yeah,
of thing?
we
They were
always-
still doing
Yeah,
that?
we always took eggs, bought eggs from them. But
We
see,
didn't have to buy no eggs from the market. We always bought it from the
country eggs.
country eggs.
And what about dairy products, milk and things like that? Were you
Well,
buying
from-
it from outside or did
No,
they?
we
No, the dairy trucks came down here.
Uh-huh. And what other kinds of things were they still bringing in for trading when you started out? I mean, were they bringing in vegetable crops?
Yeah,
They'd
we
bring
put
in
out fresh
vegetables and
vegetables out
fruit.
of gardens in the summertime.
There has been quite a transition in the last 30 years as far as those
They
kinds
sure
of things
have.
go, and it's interesting to follow the progress of that. Well, now I'm going to make an assumption that you were born in this area.
No, I was born
okay,
in Wayne County.
County.
But he was raised here
I
in this
raised
county.
in
When he was
this
a small
area.
boy, his parents moved to this county, and he's lived here ever since. Except a few years when he lived down in Tennessee and
Right.
worked down there.
Right.
Yeah, he's a native of McQuarrie County.
When you were coming up, did the older folks tell you any of the Indian stories or legends other
No,
than the
they
Yamaha?
didn't.
They didn't know much about it, or they didn't talk to you about it.
If they know, they didn't tell.
I've asked you about the niter mining and like some of the burials that you found and the stills. Did you ever run across places where you found like rock carvings on the rock, or places where the
No, I
Indians
never
painted?
did find no carvings.
Uh-huh. They found a few in other parts of the plateau here, but you've not found any of these.
I found a little, I call it a little plaque, and it's about 8 inches long and about 4 inches wide, and it was an oval shape,
Uh-huh.
round, and it had carving on it, but I never could read it.
It was like little figures and,
Yeah,
and
just-
things? Scratching.
Just scratching.
And you found that in one of the rock shelters?
Found it in a rock shelter.
Uh-huh. Is that something that you held on
But
to?
it was slate.
Oh.
I held on to it till after so many years it started crumbling
Crumbling.
up. And it just crumbled away.
Slate does that, doesn't it?
It went through too many hands. But that was one thing that I wanted to keep.
Now, the collection that you had, you told me you split up and gave to your 3 boys
Yeah, I give them.
And our son-in-law.
and your son-in-law. So it went 4 ways, really. Uh-huh. So, and one son and your son-in-law live here in Stearns?
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh. What is your son-in-law's name?
John Jones.
John Jones. Okay.
And Ruth Ann.
Ruth Ann is your daughter, and she runs the Stearns restaurant.
They own that whole block through there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They've got a little gold mine on their hands, don't they, potentially?
They got a lot of work on their
And then
hands.
They own and operate the skating rink over at Whitley too. Skate land.
Well, you mentioned that Everett Mason also collected a lot of things around here. Do you know of any other people around here that we might be able to talk to and look at their collections? We're not trying to put a finger on anybody. We're just trying to see what kind of things they found.
I don't know of anybody that has a collection.
Other than Everett.
Other than Everett and nuts.
John Mason not have any.
John's got a few, but he doesn't have a big collection.
I'm going to go over and see him this afternoon.
Yeah, you do that.
Yeah, see what he's got.
Now he can tell you a lot about he was born and raised over here in Wayne County, right in the where all them arrowheads that we got. That's where John Everett was born and raised. And John, he worked for the Forest Service till he retired. He was
Well, Everett did too, didn't he?
yeah, both of them retired. Everett was a forester, and John, he was like me, he was a tire man most of the time.
A tear man, you said?
On the lookout tower.
Oh, tower man. Okay, all right. I thought you were saying tear man, which to me meant you were weighing
Watch
stuff.
For fires.
Yeah.
Watch for fires.
Yeah. But they have closed down a lot of the towers around here, haven't they?
They don't have a one.
I know they've got one in Oneida that they still man, for a few months out of the year.
Yeah, the state.
Yeah.
Federal, they do theirs all by ours.
When did they close down the fire towers around here, for the most part? Was it, about 8-10 years ago?
Yeah, that.
The last one they closed down was the one at Stearns.
When you started working for the Forest Service, that was probably about 10 years after they changed the fence laws around here, wasn't it? Or was it longer after that? Were people still letting their animals roam in the woods?
Oh no, that law came into effect a long time ago.
That was back in the 30s, wasn't it? Back in the
that was.
Did you? Now you mentioned something about the moonshiners. You didn't want to shut down the stills because they burned down the forest. That was the Forest Service.
What everybody thought.
What they thought. You didn't know that for sure, but that was popular opinion.
No, it's just a popular opinion.
You don't know it for sure. You can't tell about these moonshiners.
Yeah.
We don't know any of them.
I'm just curious about.
It's just as hard to catch a firebug as it was to catch a moonshiner.
I understand that there's an opinion, a long-term opinion around here about moonshiners that they're kind of popular heroes.
Yeah.
In a way.
They some real good moonshiners. I mean that they're made real good moonshine. If he made good moonshine, he's a good moonshiner.
Was there kind of a grapevine that if somebody didn't do it right, you knew about it, so you kind of watched out for that person?
Yeah, that's
moonshine.
It was pretty well known.
I'm just interested too in when the Forest Service came in around here. It was in the 40s, wasn't it, that they started making this national forest? What was the attitude of people at that time about it when the Forest Service came in?
Well, I think the people had a good attitude toward the Forest Service.
In some places that wasn't always the case.
No, it wasn't always the case.
But around here they had a good attitude about it.
Around here they had a good attitude about it.
And they were good jobs to get, weren't they, to work for the Forest Service?
Yeah, they had good jobs to get. But what I think it helped it so much, the Forest Service here so much, because the Stearns Coal and Lumber Company, they owned everything. And then in the 30s, 29 and 30s, the time got so bad, Stearns, they just, instead of paying taxes on their land, they just turned over, sold it to the government. But there was a lot of places at the Stearns, if you wanted to get out here in the woods and build you a house, you could just get out there and build you a house. And after the Forest Service bought it, they went in there and tore these houses all down. And there was a hard feelings there for a long time. But then that all went away with a good job that the Forest Service brought. Yeah, they'd tear the top off of the house and burn it down. Big log houses.
And see where that would cause resentment. if you'd put effort into building your house
Yeah,
there.
but it didn't last too long.
How many local people at the time did you know that worked for the Forest Service? Were there quite a number?
What a
folks.
number, yeah.
It's interesting in other parts of the country, you know, that they still kind of resent the Forest Service.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
A lot of
places that they really
A lot of
resent.
people does in this county.
Oh, do they?
They'll get in disputes, you know, about their boundary lines and little things like that.
My sense is that the Forest Service was happy to see the Park Service come in because then they could
Take over the park.
yeah.
Yeah, we're just laying all fun Park Service now.
Was there a lot of recreational use of the forest land right around here before the park came in? Were people using Allen Ford and Yahoo Falls a lot?
They visited, I think.
Not any more than they are now. I don't think it increased any.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people camped and
Are you seeing changes, you know, living right down here at the bridge, are you seeing any increases in tourism now that the park is established? I mean, the land hadn't changed that much, but, you know, there's been a little more publicity.
There are a lot more tourists now than in, say, several
There's a
years
lot
ago.
more traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic.
And
A lot of fishing, boat
Right down
riding
here?
up and down the river. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on.
how do you feel about it as long-term residents?
Well, I think it's good. I think the Park Service is a good thing.
Are you worried that it might get too developed around here? I mean, like too touristy, or do you think that's a positive? Okay. I'm interested in that too, because I know that there are some people who want the development, but
I think it ought
you know,
to be, and people could come and see the forest and ride up and down the river, fish, and the scenery. We have beautiful scenery here. I think it's a good thing that the Park Service is doing as much as they are. Of course, we don't, as elderly citizens, we don't get to get out and camp and do a lot of things, but our children and grandchildren can enjoy all this. And we think Blue Heron is a nice place. We've been down there several times to the overlooks. Yeah, I think, and every time any of our relatives come, we always take them down there and to the overlooks and all around, and they ride the train. And they like it.
Mr. Keith, what do you think about having so many city slickers out here in the woods? Are they going to have to watch themselves?
They have to watch their own selves.
still have some tape there. Well, now, you were telling me some things. We're going to get back to collecting arrowheads. You were telling me about some of the things that you have found when you were going in the cliffs looking for arrowheads and things. Could you list out some of those things again? The kinds of, besides the arrowheads that you were finding, what else were you finding? You were finding some bone needles?
With bone needles and bone fish hooks.
And they were pretty well preserved under those cliffs?
Oh, they were in perfect condition.
Combs, you found some combs.
And a comb and the
Needles.
arrowhead made from deer antlers.
Now, the comb you described to me, what was that made out of?
Look,
It's made out of a flat bone.
Junior has it.
Okay, and you think it's the pelvic bone, the deer pelvic bone?
I think it was
Down
shoulder
along shoulder
blade.
blade? Okay.
made from a shoulder blade of a deer. Or some big animal.
Now, did you find any, like, hand tools, rock hand tools? And
Yeah, we found Tommy Hawk and axes is made out of limestone, dressed down and ring cut around the top of them for the handle. But I found one Tommy Hawk was made out of flint.
Wow. They'd have to bring that in from somewhere, wouldn't they? The flint?
Yeah, they had a place they got their flint. I don't know where it was at. I don't know. There ain't no flint quarries around in here.
But that's why all their arrowheads were made out of that flint. And tell her about the rocks you found that they beat up their corn. What do you call
Yeah, did you
them?
find the grinding stones?
Yeah, we found the
yeah,
ground
found a lot of
stone
them.
and
the little pestle or the
the
chopper?
pencil, yeah.
They eat a lot of sand, didn't they?
In their skeletons, you find that their teeth are ground down.
Every one of their teeth was ground down to the gum.
About how many of those grinding stones did you find? Did you find 5 or 6 of them? Or?
Oh, I'd say that I found it 45 or 50
Wow.
all together.
Whoa. I bet they were heavy to carry out when you cared to.
I'm talking about the pets.
Oh, the pestles. Okay.
Oh, the grinding stones, they'd be that big around and
You'd leave them.
just like a bowl. No, I'd carry them out.
Yeah.
They maybe take 2 of us.
Whoa.
They had an old Jeep they could drive right up pretty
Yeah.
close. Use their Jeep.
I had one out there, a small one that was just like a bowl. It was about that big around.
Oh, about like a cereal bowl.
Yeah.
If you set
The
it down,
inside of it was ground out. That whole thing wasn't over 8 or 10 inches across.
if he set up one out down around the store anywhere, it eventually was gone.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
kids carried them on.
And some of you'd find some rocks that'd be like a square rock, but had little holes like marbles in them. And that's called them nutting stones.
Nutting stones.
Where they'd put their nuts to crack them. That's what I called them.
Well, now, that kind of information, were you sharing that with each other, with the other folks who were out there looking for stuff?
Yeah,
I mean,
we'd
you
share.
try and figure out what some of this stuff was?
Yeah, I'd find out from Charlie or some of them other boys from the university. And then they'd all come to me and ask me the question, what they was. And I got to see a lot of their stuff that way.
No, aren't you lucky? You said his name was Charlie Snow?
Charlie Long.
Charlie Long. Charlie Long is who you were.
He was the one that was
Working with.
going to school. No, Snow, he was the one that had this book.
The book.
He was written with Funkhauser and Will.
He's a pretty famous name, Snow, in this thing.
Yeah, he's...
What else do we need to know about the kinds of things you were finding here? What do you think is the most important thing about the kinds of things you were finding and the Indians in this area and the cliff houses? Yeah, you were telling me about before we were talking on the tape. You were telling me that you'd always find them. Hi.
Come in, sit down.
You'd always find the cliff houses that had the stuff in them. They would be facing the east.
Yeah, and always be smoke. The whole cliff would be
Blackened with smoke.
blackened with smoke.
And they'd be near a spring?
Be a spring nearby.
It's pretty interesting, to be able to pinpoint it like that. Makes sense.
Yeah, it does.